What was interesting about it was the fact that it was the first time that you saw Davos incredibly angry. You saw him, his hurt, his pain, his loss, and especially with this woman that he's had this bizarre relationship with for 5 seasons, or 4 seasons, I should say. It was season 6, 5, I should say, and so it was a tough scene emotionally to shoot. But the wonderful thing is, I know Carice so well and Kit so well that we slipped into this. We didn't have to do too much work beforehand. We know our characters so well, and the scene was so beautifully written. And you have to remember that everybody who was watching this, they were waiting on it, because I had found out, I think, 2 episodes before that what she had done before the battle. So that when we got to shoot it, there was an expectation when I walked into the room and I threw the stag to Melisandre, that I think everybody was waiting on that confrontation. But what was interesting was that you see a human side of Melisandre, the fact that all her beliefs were shattered, the fact that with Kit, that this is the woman who brought him back from the dead, and now she appeared to be worse, like the devil, like the horrible thing that she did, and as I say, the hurt and the pain of Davos. It was a beautifully written scene, but difficult emotionally, but artistically it was very, very, very nice, a very nice scene to shoot. It's interesting because I've been asked about the development of Davos as a character, and I think the interesting thing about him is that some of the other characters in the show, they've changed. Like Jamie, when we saw Jamie in the first season, everybody hated Jamie. He was selfish and just thought of himself, and all he cared about was his sister. And yet, when we go into season 2 and 3, when he formed a relationship with Brienne and saved her life, you saw a different side. And one of the interesting things with Davos is that he's loyal, he's honest, and he's decent, and he tries to do the right thing, and that has been his backbone right through the whole series. So that when he's presented with difficult decisions or difficult advice to give to either Stannis or to Jon Snow, then he's always honest. You know he's going to do the right thing. I don't think he may make mistakes, but he's never going to willingly do the wrong thing just because it's politically expedient. It's the thing to do now to get your way. He has a nobility and a loyalty, and he's a good counselor, and that's one of the things I like about him. You know, he's as the old saying goes, it's like he's an island of sanity in a sea of madness. We finished at the right at the end of February. One of the interesting things is we may have a short season to show 7 episodes, but we've taken the same amount of time to shoot 7 episodes that we would normally do 10. So in other words, we have as a production, we have like an extra 3 episodes to share among these 7 episodes. So what you're going to see, and we needed that because of the scale. The scale is bigger this year. It's going to be more, I've used this phrase, it's more cinematic. We've been trying very hard to do as much as we can to do cinema for television. I think it's what HBO tries to do, and very much so with Game of Thrones. So what we're trying to do is make this as wide as possible. If you think about the television screen, what we're trying to do is expand the television into the size of a cinema screen. So that takes longer to shoot, and it's more expensive. It's much more expensive. So we have increased the scale. That you're going to see it immediately with the size of the sets, the locations. And also we have a change dramatically, because now, as you know, from the end of season 6, we have this threat from the Night King and his huge army of undead. And as Sandra says, winter is here, and this is the seasons that the Night King wants. So there is, I will give you a quote, there is trouble ahead. I have been asked about, do you think Davos would possibly end up on the throne? And I think absolutely not. He's not a leader of men. He's a counselor. He's like a conscience. Because power, as we know, we have only to look around the world at the moment. Power is a very dangerous thing. Power can corrupt the best men and women. It's a dangerous drug, and I think you can see it. We in our show, I think we hold up the mirror to society a little bit. So I think people in positions of power need somebody beside them for whom power is not important, and they can be more honest. So I kind of think he's like a conscience. He will say
moral compass, yeah.
Yeah, moral compass, yeah, exactly. And because we have a lot of morally ambiguous characters in our show, that I think it's very important that you have a couple of these characters. I think Davos is a little like Samuel Tarly. Is that he's a good, decent man who's not out for things for himself, or not out to impress or beat other people or wants wealth or anything like that. He's a good man, and if you don't have good men advising you, you're in very, very big trouble. Wonderful, because you know the old saying, the water cooler moment. So when people used to come in from watching something on Sunday night, and you would go to the water cooler and go, "Did you see that last night?" Well, what's happened is Facebook and Twitter have become the water cooler. So, and it's immediate. So after the show, you've only to look at a Game of Thrones timeline. It never stops for a second, and people are discussing, "Oh my God, did you see that? What do you think is going to happen?" And it causes people to talk, and it causes people to speculate. And that is a huge compliment, because it means that it has entered people's consciousness. It has become part of culture. You've only to look on the internet and see how many other shows refer to Game of Thrones, from The Simpsons and almost every comedy show on every channel in America. There's a common language that this thing kind of brings people together. And it's very strange, it's very unusual, and it's fabulous, and I think that's a huge compliment to the achievement that HBO and Game of Thrones have accomplished.